I need everybody to lock in and answer this question. How are people dating in 2025?
Where are the good men at these days? Because let me tell you,
there are just not enough attractive men out there, and there are so many hot women.
Modern dating is completely backwards, and women are finally starting to admit it. They're asking where the good men are, from complaining about dating apps to wondering why no one approaches them in public. Maybe it's not that men disappeared. Maybe men just stopped playing the game. Fellas, drop a comment if you're tired of this double standard. Hit like, subscribe, and let's expose the truth about the modern dating market. Let's dive in.
I've just unlocked a new ick. Tell me why. I was just at the dog park and I met the cutest guy. He had the sweetest little dog, but in the middle of our conversation, he started screaming his dog's name, calling him 5-10 times. And I don't know why, but in that moment, he just became so unattractive to me. Ugh. Like, I got my dog and I laughed.
Ladies, this is why men don't take dating seriously anymore. You're out here rejecting good men over dog park acoustics. Meanwhile, she's gonna post about being single and asking where all the good men went.
Can someone nice and wonderful just come around and wife me up? Because I can't do another talking stage. Like, I just can't. If I have to ask another person, how'd you sleep last night? I don't care how you slept. I'm worried about my own sleeping patterns.
You want a husband, but you're tired of talking. That's like wanting a degree without going to class. If asking how did you sleep is too much effort, maybe you're not ready for a relationship. You're just bored and want attention.
Why did a man just ask me out on a date and said, yeah, let's go on a date, we'll go for a walk? A walk? Darling, what do you think I am? Some type of German Shepherd? Allow it.
If a walk feels beneath you, maybe it's not men who lack creativity. Maybe it's you who's allergic to substance.
where are the good men at these days? Because let me tell you, they are not on Hinge and they are not on Bumble. If my future man is posting selfies on his Instagram story, we have a major problem. Like, my future man better not even know what Hinge is. Somebody please tell me where these men are. Where are these men who are minding their business, going to work, and like ready to be a real man, okay? Because as far as I can see, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's only a bunch of guys with their boys drinking past 11 p.m. at the club and planning their next protein shake. Like, what's going on?
You say you want a real man, hardworking, low-key, offline, stable. But when he walks past you in boots, no IG, no drama, just discipline. You ignore him. Because he's not giving alpha, he's not mysterious, and he doesn't make your phone buzz. The good men are still out here working, building, or leading. You just can't see them through the filter of your own contradictions.
If a man ever said his ex left him and he make it seem like he did everything for her and she was so unappreciative and she was so ungrateful, you're going to see exactly why that woman left. Women do not leave good men.
Classic modern logic. Women do leave good men all the time. Why? Because good doesn't always mean exciting, toxic, or unpredictable. A man being stable, supportive, and consistent doesn't guarantee he's appreciated. Sometimes women leave because they're bored, and then call it growth. Truth is, loyalty is rare, accountability is rarer, and rewriting history is the new breakup therapy.
There's this dating epidemic that's happening right now. Women do not need men to get bank accounts, houses. They have careers on their own. And so as a result, it's challenging societal norms of the way men value themselves when it comes to being successful for relationships. Whereas the flip side, a lot of women are saying men need to step it up emotionally, which is why I talk a lot about emotional intelligence and how that's what women want. There's this push and pull happening right now with society. I want to know though, what are your thoughts?
Dating isn't broken because men lack emotional intelligence. It's broken because the goalposts keep moving. Be vulnerable, but still pay. Open up, but stay strong. Lead, but don't control. Men adapted to the old rules. Now we're told to rewrite ourselves. What's the reward? Still unclear.
I'm frustrated because my whole world got disheveled. And I feel like he has moved on and he is healed and moved on and doesn't care about me, which I don't want him to come back into my life, but it still just sucks, I can't imagine, thank you guys for sharing stuff, like stories that you've gotten through this and it's been however many years, because I could not imagine that.
You're upset he moved on because deep down, you expected him to stay broken without you. But men heal in silence, not social media therapy circles. He didn't stop caring, he just stopped waiting. That's what self-respect looks like.
I'm 31 years old. In Australia, the dating scene is horrific. It's awful. But I have been in long-term relationships, short-term relationships. So, I don't know. I'm just going to put in my 2 cents, not that anyone cares. Number one, which is kind of like controversial, but this is actually like I really feel strongly about this. I will never pay for a first date. I think men, like, they get so many free passes. Their life is so much easier than women's. God forbid you have to pay for one date. Anything after that, I'm happy to put in. I'll pay, we share, whatever. First date, they pay. Number two, having sex with someone on a first date or on the night of the first date is okay. It shouldn't change their opinion of you. If it does, then they're not for you. Also, like, God forbid you really start to like someone, you go on like 4 or 5 dates, you're talking a lot, and then you find out they have a tiny pecker. Like, awful. How shit would that be? So no, I'm not going to get my feelings hurt later down the line. You may as well just like find it out earlier on. Number three, I won't do a coffee date first off, or like a walking date. COVID ruined that. Also, like, I feel like I deserve to be taken out for a drink. I put a lot of effort into my appearance, and I don't know, it's just way nicer. I also like to take the edge off. I never get nervous for a date because, like, I just feel like I'm always going to have a good time with myself. Unless they're like really awful and rude or disrespectful, it's like, just have fun with yourself. Just have a drink and like make a friend, or don't make a friend. Just have a good time.
Respectfully, you want traditional treatment on a first date. The man paying, but throw tradition out the window everywhere else. Can't have it both ways. If you're proudly setting standards, don't act surprised when men start setting theirs too. Like not wanting to invest in someone who sees dating as a taste test for vibes and anatomy. Also, if having fun with yourself is the highlight, why even bring someone else along? Sounds less like dating advice and more like solo self-care with a guest star.
I need everybody to lock in and answer this question. How are people dating in 2025? You don't have the apps. If I don't have Hinge and I don't have Raya or Bumble or I don't have those. I don't want those. How are y'all meeting people? I feel like I go out and I go to events and, you know, I'm out and about and nobody approaches anybody. No, I'm not kidding. I went to a work event at a bar last week. I stood at the bar by myself for 10 minutes. Not one person approached me. And it's not like on some, you know, like, oh my God, I think I'm hot shit and like somebody should no, not at all. I'm not even talking about like getting somebody a drink. Just coming up and saying hi, introducing yourself. How the fuck are y'all meeting people? I don't understand. I go out all by myself. I go to Starbucks. I get coffee. I go to sporting events. Nobody approaches me. I don't understand. How are y'all meeting people? I don't get it. Is it just Instagram now?
So you stood at the bar for 10 minutes and no one approached you. Welcome to dating in 2025, where everyone's outside but emotionally indoors. It's not that men don't see you, it's that the game changed. Approaching a woman now feels like a social risk, not a romantic gesture. And after years of if he talks to me, he's a creep narratives, men got the message. You ask how we meet people now? Instagram DMs, memes, or TikTok comments. Yeah, it's sad, but that's where confidence feels safer. If you want real interaction, it's not enough to just show up. You gotta signal, I'm open. That's the real unlock in 2025.
A few months ago, I went on a first date with a guy from Hinge, and on his profile, he said he was looking for a long-term relationship. I was like, period, a man who knows what he wants, and he's going to say it loudly and proudly. We love that. We get on the first date, he's telling me about himself. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for a partner, I like to travel, blah, blah, I would love to have kids. Amazing. Doesn't ask me a single question about me. The only time he found things out about me is if I asked him first, and he was like, well, what about you? So you're telling me, a person you've never met before, you have nothing to ask. You don't want to know anything. The art of asking questions might be dead. Curiosity was not in the room with us. It's so difficult for me to understand because I'm literally so curious about everyone ever all the time. I want to know everything. One thing about me is I'm gonna call it out. I literally said, is there anything that you want to know about me? He said, oh, I'm good. You're good? You're all good? You're good on what? You're good on what? And so I'm thinking, okay, I've been on dates before where I'm not really feeling the first date and I'm like mindful of the questions I ask because I don't want to give them the wrong idea. The man asked me on a second date, but it's giving I could be anybody. It's giving it could be a wall and he would be good. And I don't know if this is an epidemic of men who are good looking, who have never had to try a day in their life, or like what the tea is. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time this has happened to me. And I know this is happening to some of y'all out there too. Stay safe.
You went on a date with Chad from Hinge. He's tall, good looking, says he wants kids in a future, but didn't ask you a single question. That's Chad being Chad. Let's be real. You knew. You saw the vibe, the smirk, the gym selfie, and thought, maybe this one's different. Moral of the story? If you're dating Chads and Tyrones, Expect charisma, not curiosity.
I was supposed to go on a first date the other day and I canceled literally 2 hours before. And that's because, okay, wait, I have to tell you background story. So we matched on Hinge, okay, a few days ago. And immediately right off the bat, he started sending me like voice notes. And I'm like, why are you sending me voice notes? But whatever, like the conversation was long. Like it was easier to like send a voice note than text. Immediately, he's like, I want to see you. Like, when are you free? I'm like, I'm busy. Like, I can't see you this weekend, but like I can see you next week. He's like, okay, cool. Like 8 p.m. I want to check out La Plume. Maybe we can go there. I'm like, yeah, like that sounds cute. Like I've heard good things. Texting back and forth. He texting me every day, right? Like we're really getting to know each other. I'm genuinely excited to like see him. Texting up until Tuesday night and the date is Wednesday. I'm the type of girl that I need plans to be confirmed the day of. If we don't do that, then like how the fuck am I gonna know? Like, are we still on? And also we had like tentatively talked about the place. He never told me, oh, I made the reso, it's done. See you 8 p.m., right? So now Wednesday comes around, don't hear anything from him in the morning, don't hear anything from him in the afternoon, and usually he checks in, so I'm like, okay, I'm already not going, right? Then he messages me around 5 p.m. He's like, oh my God, I've had such a long day. How has your day been? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt. Like, let's see what happens. And then he goes, oh, are you still good for 8? I'm like, hey, by the way, like, I didn't hear anything from you all day. I do like plans to be confirmed earlier on in the day. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, like I can see you. But your lack of confirmation didn't sit great with me. Respectfully communicating a boundary, right? He comes back saying, huh? First of all, blah, 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 blah. Second of all, blah, blah. I want to see you too, and I'm going to come see you, but respectfully, your attitude needs to change, and you're wrong here. Let me know what you want to do. Let me know what I want to do. Let me know what I want to do. I'm not going to fucking see you. I'm not going to fucking see you. You know that thing, like, change your attitude or leave? Babe, first of all, my attitude is correct. My attitude is correct, but I'm still going to leave. So I was like, yeah, like, it was so dismissive, so combative. I was like, I do not like your tone to a boundary that I respectfully communicated. And for that, I'm out. Just like Barbara from Shark Tank. And for that, I'm out. And not interested. And then he unmatched me from Hinge and reported my account on Hinge. And that is loser behavior. That is loser behavior.
You didn't cancel the date because he failed to confirm. You canceled because you were already looking for a reason to feel offended. The man texted, followed up, made plans, but because he didn't triple stamp the RSVP before noon, it suddenly became a red flag. It's not about standards, it's about control. You wanted him to jump through hoops to prove he's worthy. And when he didn't play the game your way, you played the victim. Then when he unmatched you, you got mad. Ma'am, you weren't looking for a connection, you were looking for compliance.
I don't know why men think it's a compliment to be like, I want you to be my wife, you're my wife. Bro, that's a threat. That is a threat.
If be my wife feels like a threat, maybe it's cause deep down you know you're not built for the role, and he's not built for your highlight reel either.
I know that what I'm about to say is really sexist, but I don't think men are capable of love. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think they're capable of experiencing unconditional love. It's always conditional. Like, everything I've seen, everything I've experienced, everything I've heard, like, oh my God.
If men aren't capable of unconditional love, it's because the conditions women set for men are based on status, income, and clout. Men learn fast. Love is only unconditional until the conditions aren't met. Welcome to the equality you asked for.
I feel so lucky to be alive at a time where women are allowed to loudly declare, oh, men saying that we're just for temporary fun is not insulting. Yeah, it's actually not insulting. Because it's like they got away with that for so long because a lot of them would assume that our purpose as women was to be picked by them to be a literal slave for the rest of our lives. And we're at an age now where we can look around and be like, oh, actually, I don't want to be a slave for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm actually super down for temporary fun. I don't want to be your lifelong slave. Let's be so for real. Most males are not tolerable past the 3 to 6 month period. Like after the honeymoon stage, a lot of them become incredibly annoying, miserable, jealous, angry, insecure. They try to make you hate yourself. They don't want you to love yourself more. They don't want you to be hot. They don't want you to be sexy. And it's like, wait, this is supposed to be a reward? I feel lucky enough to have the freedom to have short-term relationships with males because, truthfully, a lot of women got bamboozled into being lifelong slaves. Let's be real, that's how they've treated women for the majority of history. Like, they never gave us a choice as to whether or not we even wanted to be with them. They sold us off as property. They traded us off as property. And now that we finally have the choice to be like, oh, I don't want you forever, I just want you for fun, they're trying to slut shame us and be like, oh, you were never wifey material, you were just for temporary fun. Good, I want to be for temporary fun. Because you don't deserve me forever. Second you stop doing what I want you to do, you're done, you're cooked.
If modern dating really is just temporary fun, then let's drop the facade completely. No more pretending either side is emotionally invested beyond the vibes. But here's the twist. Men got called emotionally unavailable for years. Now women proudly claim the same attitude and call it freedom. Cool. Just don't cry about emotional connection when you've made short-term use only the standard. Funny how women talk about being used for centuries, yet today openly treat men like seasonal accessories, then turn around and demand loyalty, emotional intelligence, and stability from the very ones they dismiss after a few months. You can't brag about making the cuts like a CEO and still be shocked when men start playing the same ruthless game. Let's not pretend this is empowerment. It's just revenge dressed in self-help language. And if both sides keep treating each other like disposable entertainment, don't be surprised when love, trust, and family vanish right alongside the lifelong slavery you're so happy to escape.
I'm assuming this rule applies to women that are 25 and younger, right? Because you've told us that no one's going to want us once we're over 25, once we're over 30. So I'm assuming that the dating pool that you're drawing from is only women that, let's say, are under the age of 30. So it would make sense then that only 80% or that 80% of women under 30 would only want 20% of men because you're drawing from a smaller pool. There's much less women, if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, that are under the age of 30. But if we're looking at all women, including the women that are over the age of 30, then it sounds like people do want us over the age of 30. And you guys are the ones who have trouble getting women to want you regardless of what age you are. You see how no matter what argument we use here, there's always a fallacy within it, because there is an inevitable and inescapable truth in all of these arguments, and it's the truth that you guys do not want to accept.
Let's address the 80 to 20 rule. She tries to pin it on just women under 30, as if female hypergamy magically expires after a birthday? Cute, but reality check. Hypergamy doesn't retire with age. It just becomes more desperate. The pool doesn't shrink. The standards do. That's why women over 30 still chase the same top 20% of men, but now with more urgency and less leverage. Let's continue with her talking points.
Men have been able to get women in the past because they have used coercion and violence and control. Now that those kinds of tools are not as applicable in today's dating market, and women have the ability to provide for themselves and they have the ability to abstain from getting married and having children, y'all are having an issue dating because we no longer have to be forced to be with you. That's the truth.
Nah, that's a cheap shot. You're not going to gaslight an entire gender with historical cherry picking. Yes, the past had its problems, but let's not pretend like women didn't also benefit from those traditional dynamics. Protection, provision, stability. That wasn't all oppression, ma'am.
So you're going to have to step up and provide more to the dating market if you want a partner. That's just it. That's it. Period. End of conversation. You are going to have to figure out ways to do more and be more to appeal to women.
You have to step up. Oh, we already did. Top tier men are out here grinding, building, improving. Problem is, the same women screaming step up are also swiping left on good dudes for not being 6'2" with a yacht and abs.
And no, that doesn't just have to do with money. That has to do with being emotionally intelligent. That has to do with being funny. That has to do with being attractive and taking care of yourself and having some kind of beauty standard that you hold yourself to, the same way that women have had these impossible beauty standards to hold ourselves to in order to find a mate.
It's not about money. Oh, really? Then why is a man's wallet the first thing mentioned when it comes to dating standards? Emotional intelligence and humor only matter after a guy passes the looks and lifestyle filter.
And historically, for women, finding a mate meant finding and securing herself resources because there were no other way to find or secure resources. Y'all want a mate just because you want a mate. It's not because you need to secure resources for yourself. It's because you can't fathom not having a mate. Because when you do not have a mate, when you do not have a woman in your life, you become a threat to yourself and to others. That's the issue here. This is a skill issue. This is a skill issue that you need to address. This is your fucking problem.
Men can't be alone. That's projection, ma'am. That line about men being threats without women, Utter pure nonsense. If anything, the modern man is learning peace in solitude. The real panic is coming from women hitting their 30s with no ring and realizing Instagram validation doesn't cuddle you at night. This isn't also a skill issue, this is a supply and demand issue. Women raised their standards while simultaneously flooding the market with entitlement. Now they want results without adjusting expectations. This isn't men's problem anymore. It's called reality. Adjust accordingly.
Last night, I was at dinner with my girlfriend and we were talking about the fact that there are just not enough attractive men out there, and there are so many hot women. And I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Even if I were to walk down the street right now, I could guarantee you, in the span of a few blocks, I would see a handful of gorgeous women. Women with style, women with poise, women who are just conventionally attractive. And I might see one attractive man, and that's on a good day. And even more so, I have a guy friend and we were getting dinner the other weekend and we're both in our dating phases and we were talking about how like god awful it is out here, and we exchanged our Hinges. Like I saw his guy view of Hinge and he saw mine. And I was gobsmacked because every single girl that came up was pretty, was cute, was downright hot. And he gave me back my phone and he was like, Kimmy, I'm so sorry. So yeah, if you guys have any theories, I would love to hear them.
The reason you see so many gorgeous women and few attractive men isn't because good-looking men don't exist. It's because male attractiveness isn't just about looks. Women are taught to perfect their appearance. Men are taught to earn their appeal through confidence, status, humor, and drive. You're comparing women on level 10 effort to men whose value often unfolds beyond a photo. Also, if you're judging men solely on dating apps where 80% of guys get swiped left on, you are basically shopping at the clearance rack and wondering why you're not finding luxury. Real life, real value, real depth. That's where the good ones are. But yeah, they may not be posing shirtless with a dog on Hinge. You've reached the end of the video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. What's your most savage dating standard? See you next time.